Okay, so we are third from the top of page Lamed Aleph. Ayin starts with Kuli, close parentheses, V'adugim is that. The similar Inyan that we've just now discussed by the Nefesh, speaking about Koiches HaGluyim, and how Koiches HaGluyim are all substantiated first and foremost by the Chokhmah, and then Koiches HaNe'alomim, that even in the Koiches HaNe'alomim there is also a certain interrelationship, and Chokhmah is primary and has an influence on all the Koiches. So the similar in Yubal Lamayla, you will understand the way it is Lamayla. The sphere is the Atzilus. Hey, Bechinas Mekerim Gluyim. We are on page Lamed Aleph. About a third down the line begins Kuli, Vadugma Mizeh. The 10 spheres are Bechinas Mekerim Gluyim. They represent, they have the quality of Mekorim Gluyim, of revealed sources. And the principle revealed means that they are functional. Each sphere is chesed because it functions like chesed. Omnom, however, there is, however, a root and a source for all the things. Everything has a root. As how in the state that everything exists in the Helem in Soif, in the Helem, in the concealed state of the Ayin Soif Baruch. Shalamayla me'atzilus, that which is above Atzilus. And the Inyan that is concealed, as we explained in the Moshe, that this is where everything is not functional in its particular manner, in a particular form, but it is present only in the sense that the Mokir can relate to everything. And this is L'mayla me'atzilus, which is above Atzilus. Atzilus, there is also already an identifiable structure of 10 spheres, and this is above Atzilus. Be'eses spheres da akudim, in the Madrege above Atzilus, which is called Eses spheres da akudim, 10 spheres of akudim. Akudim is a Madrege above Atzilus. And akudim, the word akudim is an inference to the concept of bound up together. As the spheres, the akudim means the 10 spheres in the Madrege of akudim, where there are 10 spheres, but all 10 spheres are bound together, not like in Atzilus, where each sphere has its own place and its own keli, so to speak, a functional state. Akudim is where they're all together. And then above that there is Odom Kadmon. Odom Kadmon, this is the Kadmoin as an aspect of Odom. And the term Kadmoin, we already had a chance to discuss at various occasions that the word Kadmoin refers to that which is pristine, meaning it is not an element that came to be created. Kadmon, it represents that which is original. It is there at the original state. Ukiyodua, as it is known, she'odam kadmon or ak koilel kol hishtalshelus. It actually includes kol hishtalshelus, the entire hishtalshelus, mereish kol dargin ad soif kol dargin, from the highest all madregas to the lowest of all madregas. So all this speaks of everything being included, and therefore this is like the ultimate root or source of everything that resulted later on, and yet this is way above being gilui of an expressed and identifiable state. B'sheirish shorshon, and then the root of their root. In other words, the root of even of the of all the madrigas that he mentioned, and even Odom Kadmon, who be'eses firis hagnuzes be'erin soib shelifnei hatzimtzum. It is in the 10 spheres hagnuzes that are treasured in the Oirin Soif before the Tzimtzum. Odom Kadmon, this is already after the Tzimtzum. And then there is, before the Tzimtzum, there is what's called the Eses Spheres Hagnuzes, that are gonus that are treasured within the Oirin Soif. Shegam Shom Yesh Eses Spheres. Because there too, even before the Tzimtzum, there is 10 spheres. Min ha-keser ad ha-malchus. All 10 spheres from the keser till the malchus. And as is discussed elsewhere. So there are all of these madregas, all of these levels, all of these principles that do not represent anything that functional, anything that can be identified as a function. Everything is over there spoken of in terms of an essential reality. 10 spheres on this essential level. And even before the Tzimtzum, there's Eses Spheres Hagnuzes. And the most important point is this: B'chol hamadregas, and in all of these madregas, reish is ha-hamshoch, the starting point of the hamshocha, of the drawing of the draw from the Ayin side. Because anytime you speak about Eses Spheres, even if you speak as spheres that are inherent in the Ayin Soif, the Eses Spheres, by virtue of identity, of reference, is already called the Hamshoch. The Reishes HaHamshoch, the starting point of the Hamshoch, he b'bchinas HaChochma. It is in the element of Chochma. Da'dei Yamtzos HaChochma Nimshach Bo Eses Spheres. And then, via the intermediacy of the Chochma, it comes into Eses Spheres.
It's the starting point and the means?
Right. The Chochma is always the link at every level, even Eses Spheres Hagnuzes, which is before the Tzimtzum. I don't know to what extent that strikes you in terms of what the significance of this before the Tzimtzum, after the Tzimtzum. The central point is that I should say there is two central points. The first central point is to understand that no matter what hamshacha there is an element of the source in the hamshacha. Like we spoke about in the koiches hanefesh, in gluyim, in functional koiches, there is an element of the nefesh at the level of the functioning koich. This is the lower part of this point, and then the upper part of it, what enables it, that Oirin Soif and the Oish Lifnei Atzim should allow for identification even internally. For spheres, it is through Choch.
That's the second point.
That's the second point. Chochma is that quality that enables the transition, the transfer from that which is from Ein Sof into spheres and into elements. And the principle and this how we identify and define Chochmah, we already discussed when we talk about Begilui, that Chochmah, because of its bittul, and the primary principle in Chochmah is that it sees everything not from the perspective how it strikes at the presence level, now it just strikes me, but it sees everything from the inception, from the source perspective. Therefore, it incorporates both. It has the reality and the infinity of the source, and then it recognizes in that reality all that is contained in it, and it permits for its further development. Because of the great significance of this, on all levels, and even by us on a practical level, I'd like to make some points whenever the opportunity arises. We know that Torah, it said, Moshe kibel Torah misinai Masora leYeshua. Moshe received the Torah misinai. Okay, up until that time there was no Torah. But once Moshe brought down the Torah and he wrote it down, why do we need Moshe to give it over? Yeshua can open the book and learn. It's all written there. And Yeshua is a very smart man, and he can understand and draw everything from what's written. It's an interesting thing. The Gemara actually says that the Moshe, the day that Moshe died, they lost 3,000 halachas. 3,000 halachas were forgotten. And then there was this giant man, Sneal ben Knaz, and he restored all the halachas pilpulei. He was able to show to his people and restore these 3,000 halachas that were missing. So if that's possible, so why can't the Yeshua learn Torah on his own? Why do we need Mesiras from Moshe? And this Inyan that Yisniel ben Knaz restored the halachas, he restored the halachas. He didn't create them. Except that at that it was forgotten, and when he was able with Pilpule to show them, it came back. But essentially it is all coming from Moshe. Why do you need a Mesira? Why not learn as you encountered Apiseichel with your own method of divination? And this is the phenomenal principle in this. Torah is not a worldly presence. Torah is not telling you how things should be in the world. Torah is telling you how Hashem functions in the world. Where do you find God in the world? This is what Torah is telling you. Not how it is right to behave here. How Hashem functions in the world, you have to always be connected to that source. Otherwise, you're just surmising. That's not the real thing. Torah has the koyach. Like they say, Var Havaya Zu Halach. Why Var Havaya Zu Halach? Hashem's word is Halach. Hashem's word is the whole Torah. What was Halach? Because Halach has the power to actually enable and enforce a certain thing and make it happen. Make it happen, you have to have the creator of the world to make it happen. How is the creator of the world carried through in Torah from Moshe Rabbeinu to our time? It is because of this unbroken chain of Moshe, Kibbutz, Mesirim, Sorel, Yeshua, Yeshua, and every generation had its link to the generation before it. As we could see, throughout, the Rambam accounts 40 generations, but then further down, throughout all the time till our very day. The Rebbe always makes a point to emphasize that this goes all the way to the Achrein and Achrein Shebachareinim. Because this is what brings the Eibushin through the Torah. This is what we learned before, that you have koiches hanefesh, and the koiches can function like we say. We can walk by moving our feet. We can walk. That's not koich hanefesh. That's walking like a robot. Koich hanefesh means that there has to be a neshama spirit in this walk, a life element. In order that the neshama should be involved in you walking, he has to go to the chokhmah. The chokhmah should identify that walking is a viable activity, and therefore it can translate all the way down to the feet. And this is what we're saying here. All the way to the highest levels. Anything having to do with hamshacha, there cannot be any severance of connection. It's a true and viable thing. Let it be on its own. If it's on its own, it's nothing. One of the challenges of a Rav is not to know the right thing to do. A Rav with a lot of experience, a lot of learning, can immediately sense this is what should be done over here. The big challenge is find a source for it. If you can't find a source for it, it's not a halach. It may be the right thing to do, but it's not real. Okay, now we continue further. Okay, so we're on the line. We're close to the middle of page Lamed Aleph. The line begins HaChochma. I'm sorry, HaChochma Nimshach versus Sfiris. And Chochma has this linkage capability that it can speak of a presence without losing contact to the source, because Chochma sees it from the source perspective. This in itself we have already discussed at length, from sight and so forth. B'zeh inyan Chochma de Torah. And this is the principle of Chochma of Torah, k'mei shehi b'Chochma hagduma shebe'atzmus ein soy baruch. Torah is Chochma, but the Chochma of Torah, this is the Chochma of Torah is the Chochma at all levels. How Torah is an Atzmus ein soy. Shehi ha-memutza, where it is the memutza, the intermediate, the linkage. Sheba v'al nimshach b'chinas ha'tainug ha'atzmi. The klolas ha'ishtal shalus, whereby through the amtzoes of Torah, which is the quality of Chochma, the bechina, the tainug ha'atzmi, is nimshach, is drawn in ishtal shalus, into the entire structure, and the descent and the linkages throughout the entire world, the entire existence. And this is what David HaMelech said. Remember, this is what we started right now. This is what David HaMelech Zmiras Hoyelichu Kecho. We praise the Torah, Chukecha, that the Chukim are like Zmiros, are like songs. Because being that the Torah has the quality of a Mutza. The Mamutza through which the Tainug element is drawn. B'chol Hishtal Shalus, in the entire Hishtal Shalus. That there's an element of Tainug Eliki, there's an element of primary truth in everything that exists. Shezehu Kiyum V'chayus Kulam. This is what sustains everything, and this is the Chayus of all of them. We explained one time before the difference between Kiyum and Chayus. Essentially, the similar principle. Kiyum is that which exists, and Chayus is that sense that it has to exist. It should exist. It has an element of truth behind it. That's the Chayus. And this is inherent in the Oineg element. The nature of Oineg, it's virtually impossible to really define Oineg, because in fact Oineg is higher than Seichel. And therefore to define and to understand Oineg is impossible. But certain elements we can identify in contrast. And the principle of Oineg is that it is not a factual presence. It is a presence that links directly to a source. Oineg gives out that there is a truth behind it. It is not just what exists. An existence level, this is the kiyum, this is the activity. The Oineg element is the sense that there is a truth behind it. This is the kiyum chayes kol ha'ishtalshus. Because kol ha'ishtalshus, what gives it chayes, is the fact that there is a truth behind it. And therefore, Kol ha'halomis v'ha'hamshoches, all halomis. All halomis means all descends, all lower madreges, and then hamshoches into the lower madreges. Tluyim batoir are dependent on Torah. Meyachar shezehu mokir kula. Being that the Torah, this is the mokir of all of them. And here the word mokir is very literal. Like we said, chokhmah. Chokhmah, we said, chokhmah includes all of the koiches. And we pointed out was meant all of the koiches. The word all represents, on the one hand, it is individual koiches. Otherwise, it's not all. We can't define it as all if there's no individual koiches. On the other hand, there's also a cloud. On the other hand, it's all, and the principle of all, as we explained, is not something that you get by encounter. You cannot encounter, you cannot accumulate anything that is in the category of all. You can accumulate a lot, but you cannot accumulate all. All means that you have the source of it. This is what Chokhmah has brought in this in. We pointed out this is the difference between Yankiv and Esav. Okay, this is it. I just want to finish this. Yankiv and Esav, I don't remember I mentioned this. This is right in line with this. That Yankiv and Esav, when they met, so Esav said, Yesh li rov, I have a lot. And Yankiv said, Yesh li koil, I have all. So Rashi says, that Rashi points out, hey, Yankiv spoke with greater hanova, with greater humility than Esav. Esav said, I have a lot, and Esav said, I have all. If we examine the term, we would say just the opposite. A lot means a lot, but not all. All is much greater inference than a lot. And this is a big difference. Because Esav spoke about a lot, he spoke about accumulation and his great development. Yankiv said, I have the source of everything. I don't need a lot. I have the truth. Yesh li koil. I don't need anything. And this what Chokhmah is mokir kula. Chokhmah is the source of all. Chokhmah actually provides for the possibility of there being koiches or anything in Seder Ishtalshalis, of there being a mitzvah of having a real presence. And this is where we stopped this morning. Have a good day. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning. This ring really helps.